Hello, and welcome back, everybody, to Sakura Dungeon. Last time we were exploring the 11th floor, and we also got a new outfit for Yomi. It's a nice looking swimsuit. But since we're up here topside, I thought we might go ahead and meet our captured monsters if my controller would like to actually. I'm just an idiot. Sorry about that, everybody. Alright. Now that my controller is actually plugged in, let's check out these monsters. We have a Tribeswoman and a Fox Archer. Let's start with the Tribeswoman real quick. I have taken time to visit a very special guest today. She is a member of the tribe whom I had invited to join me in my dungeon a long time ago. I wonder how they've been doing since I was away. When she notices me, she wanders over to the bars of her cell. I see you, my captor, says the tribeswoman. It is unusual to see a rogue monster on the lower floors. Who are you and why are you here? Asks the tribeswoman. I am just someone who has a long history with that dungeon, says Yomi. How long exactly? Asks the tribeswoman. Our tribe has been here for centuries and I have never heard anything about you, she says. I am a very long-lived fox, my tribeswoman, replies Yomi. My history with the place goes back even further than that. Interesting, says the tribeswoman. By the way, says Yomi, how are things going for the tribe? For your tribe. My tribe, asks the tribeswoman. Some of us have left, some of us haven't, she replies. A lot have stayed because this has been our home for a very long time. But we're growing restless, says the tribeswoman. There's something at work within the dungeon which does not feel right. I cannot explain it, but everyone agrees that they can feel that something is off. She pauses for a moment. You have not told me why you were holding me prisoner yet, says the tribeswoman. Because, says Yomi, I would like to work with you. It is hard to negotiate in the middle of a dungeon, you know, she says. Fair point, replies the tribeswoman. She rests the hilt of her spear, appearing to be deep in thought. Rest on the hilt of her spear, appearing to be deep in thought. Well, says the tribeswoman, I have no desire to fight for the current dungeon lord if I do not have to. Let's work together then, says the tribeswoman. She's joined our party. Alright, we'll do the Fox Archer next. There has been a very discontent guest at the holding cells lately. She has undoubtedly been bored ever since she arrived. The Fox Archer I captured has just been sitting on the floor holding her bow. Finally, says the Fox Archer, someone is here. What do you hope to gain by holding me prisoner? Asks the Fox Archer. She idly readjusts the strings on her bow. I have been so bored in here, says the Fox Archer. There's nothing to aim at, she says. You do not need to always be practicing, says Yomi. Sometimes it is good to take a moment of rest. When you come back to it, it will enable you to look at it with a refreshed perspective. That wouldn't really work for me, says the Fox Archer. Now then, she continues. Excuse me. What do I have to do in order to get out of this cell? The Fox Archer asks. I am only a lowly minion, so there's no value for me as a hostage, she says. That's not my intention at all, says Yomi. I would like for you to work with me, Archer. Work with you? Asks the Fox Archer. That would explain the ragtag group of monsters that were following you, says the Fox Archer. So you've captured them and negotiated with them just like me, right? Asks the Fox Archer. That is correct, says Yomi. What do you do with the ones that refuse? Asks the Fox Archer. Not one of them has refused me yet, says Yomi. I think you will find that I am a reasonable person to work with, she continues. She grows silent, tapping the end of her bow into the ground gently. Well, says the Fox Archer, if so many of them have joined you for your cause, then perhaps it would not be unreasonable to work with you, asks the Fox Archer. Do I get time for target practice when we aren't in the dungeon, she asked. Of course, says Yomi. I want you to do your very best for me. Then let us work together, says the Fox Archer. Alright. Now let's also move our team around a little bit. Alright, who do I have with me? I'm going to keep Sylve. I'll swap the Mud Girl for the Fox Archer. I'm pretty okay with the Fox Tamer. Let's try the Tribeswoman as well. Party. Generally close enough. You know, we haven't walked around town at all. Let's check it out. You have some free time at the moment. It would probably be good to go check on my servants. You know, you never know what may be happening in town, so it is always a good idea to stay up to date on the local gossip. Considering how much time I've spent asleep, I would be happy to hear some recent news. So, I wonder what I should do first. As you progress through the dungeon, dialogue events will become available in town. Checking these events can lead to uncovering secrets or unlocking special events. So, after you return from the dungeon, make sure to check to see if there's any events available. Geez, we have a lot of fucking events. I guess we'll teach Siri a new spell. There is something we need to discuss, Siri, says Yomi. Yes, Siri asks. What is on your mind, Fox? Since I am now joining you in battle, says Yomi, you no longer have to use the capture spell. Would you like it if I taught you how to channel your mana into an attack instead? Asked Yomi. Well, says Siri, I suppose it would be handy to be able to use some form of magic, Siri says. At the same time, I have been fairly effective at capturing monsters so far, so the question of who would be better suited for the task. Take your time to think about it, says Yomi, and I will respect your decision. Yeah, sure. And yeah, we'll learn her a new attack, because, I mean, she's mostly good damage, but... I will leave capturing new recruits to you, says Siri. Oh, says Yomi, you call them recruits now? She asks. Well, Siri says, I can't exactly call it slavery. Anyway, show me how to use this magic, Siri says. With pleasure, Siri, replies Yomi. I hope that it serves you well. Siri learned Astral Blade. This skill is only available while she has the flow condition. Heard on that. I guess we'll do some more talking around town. I guess this is a non-dungeon episode. I hope you enjoy all this little interactions and stuff. It'll probably be also for the next episode as well, since I had never even realized that this was an option, and we have quite a few things built up. See how Siri and Sylve are doing. One thing I've been worried about is how Sylve is handling Siri. If I were to take a guess, she would be jealous. After all, she used to come see me frequently back then. She holds me in an almost mythic regard. It's a bit off-putting. People praising me excessively is annoying more than anything else. So, let's see how these two strong personalities clash with one another. The two of them are sitting at a table staring at each other. I get the feeling that this is not going to end peacefully. Sylve is the first one to break the silence. So, says Sylve, what is a human doing here, she asked, let alone an adventurer. I have spent my whole life wanting to work with Yomi, and some random human who bumbled into this town gets to as well, Sylve asked Siri. How does this work? I do not care about your petty jealousy, says Siri. I am here out of necessity, she says. Yomi defeated me with ease and chose to spare my life. So now I am repaying my debt to her, Siri says. Even if you don't want me to be here, there is nothing I can do about it. So, Sylve says, in other words, she defeated you and made you her servant, she asked. Seems fitting for a human. Spare me your arrogance, Siri says. You are the first elf I have ever seen, and you have done nothing You have been nothing but unpleasant. Whether you like it or not, you're stuck with me for now, Siri says. So, can we please just try to get along? Sylve just pouts to herself. So you just don't understand, Sylve says. Do you realize what's happened to you? She asks. Being able to work with Yomi is probably the best thing that's going to happen in your entire short life, Sylve says angrily. Fine, Siri says. I see how it is. I'm going out for a walk, she says. Siri leaves the inn. Sylve just continues to brood to herself. She doesn't get it at all, Sylve says to herself. What a privilege it is to be working with her. She just doesn't get it. Surprisingly, that it actually ended better than I thought it would. I was expecting them to actually start fighting with each other. Oh well, it would be absurd to think that my expectations will always be correct. Alright everybody, I think I'm going to call it here for this episode. I hope you enjoyed meeting a couple new recruits and walking around the town a bit with me. For the next episode, we will probably also finish walking around the town, finish all of our talking points and options. But as always, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time, everybody.